We all know that Koji Kondo is video game music royalty, responsible for our most beloved soundtracks. But what has he done for us lately? I mean, the last soundtrack that he was entirely responsible for was Ocarina of Time, and that was 30 years ago. You can't even count Majora's Mask, because Toru Minegishi contributed a couple of tracks to that one. If you're not the only one writing and implementing every single piece of music and sound effect in the game, can you even call yourself the composer of that game? And don't even talk to me about Super Mario Sunshine or Star Fox 64, because he tag-teamed those with one other composer each. From the GameCube era of Nintendo on, Koji Kondo took a step back from composing scores and took on the role of sound advisor, guiding new talent on how to craft a game soundtrack and prioritizing the sustainability of the company, which is a concept completely foreign to my Western brain. That being said, even though other younger composers were taking the reins on each new Mario and Zelda installment, Kondo to this day usually contributes 1 or 2 tracks to each big release in those series, especially Mario games. I combed through different wikis and soundtrack credits, collecting all of Kondo's various one-off compositions from Nintendo's last couple of decades of releases, and I have to say he has not lost his touch at all. This is not a situation of a young and productive artist taking on a senior role when their creative juices run dry. Kondo's one-off contributions are almost all the standouts of each of their respective soundtracks. So, let's take a look at the top 5 best Koji Kondo one-offs. Number 5. Pilot Wings Helicopter Theme. The earliest example of a Kondo one-off is from Pilot Wings for the Super Nintendo. The helicopter theme strikes an immediately ominous tone with these chromatically shifting chords moving over top of a slow but driving bass pedal. The steady bass rhythm, sprinkling triplets into a 5/4 time signature, is evocative of Mars, the Bringer of War from Holst's famous Planet Suite. Kondo's used this illusion before in his airship theme from Super Mario Bros. 3, so there's something about this militaristic feel that he must associate with aircraft. But where Super Mario Bros. 3 set that mood and then sat there for the whole loop, Pilot Wings' helicopter theme keeps throwing curveballs at you. Bars of 6/4 are dropped in seemingly at random, the harmony keeps shifting around chromatically until we eventually break into this colorful and melodic section which carries us through a couple of different tonalities. In an interview with IGN, Kondo had this to say: "That was one of my first forays into being a sound director. I remember creating just one piece of music for that to give the other staffers a sense of the direction we wanted for that title. It was to lay the groundwork for them to go through and score the rest of the game." Imagine your boss giving you this track and going, "There, so write stuff like that." It's easy to remember Kondo's upbeat, jolly melodies and forget that he also wrote a ton of super weird stuff like this. Number 4. Wind Waker's Grandma Theme. Now, Wind Waker was the first Zelda game where Koji Kondo passed the reins entirely to someone else. Well, 3 someone else's: Kenta Nagata, Hajime Wakai, Toru Minegishi, a collection of very good hands to leave the series' legacy in. Kondo worked on a handful of tunes for the soundtrack, but mostly rearrangements of music he'd composed for A Link to the Past. The Hyrule Castle theme, the Fairy Fountain theme, Zelda's theme, these and more classic melodies return in various inventive new forms throughout the Wind Waker, and a lot of the rearrangements were done by Kondo himself. But Kondo also wrote the theme for Link's Grandma, a sweet and quaint little melody that captures the loving comfort and warmth of Grandma's house. What about this theme feels so welcoming? If I had to zero in on one thing, it would be meeting expectations. We talk about musical interest as being driven by subverting the listener's expectations, but here we actually set and meet the listener's expectations quite thoroughly, and the result is very charming. The melody features a phrase built from a winding walk around a scale that resolves with a leap down. This figure is then moved down in thirds with only slight variations made to keep melodic momentum going and fit with the underlying harmony. Once the pattern is set, there are no big surprises in the melody. The harmony also sticks to a reliable path throughout. We start off with a descending bass line and then stick to that descending bass line all the way through till the end of the phrase. By bar 2, you can see the trajectory of the melody and the harmony, and the music doesn't give you any real surprises. It follows that trajectory all the way to its conclusion. You can see in the B section too, the melody again takes one idea and shifts it around to start on different notes without subverting the expectations set by that first statement. These big leaps up move to an accented dissonant melody note in the following bar that resolves down in a melodic move called an appoggiatura. This pattern is established and then plays out just as you'd expect. There is nothing better than showing up at your grandma's house and having it be exactly the same as it's been for as long as you've been alive. She greets you the same way as always, serves your same favorite meal as always, and gives you the same love and attention that she always gives you. What could be a better musical representation of that than this sweet, charming, homey theme that Kondo composed? Mario and Zelda sort of represent Kondo's two prime modes of writing: upbeat, catchy melodies and dramatic, heroic adventure music. But if you think of like Zelda's Lullaby, or the Kakariko Village theme, or this Grandma's theme, there's a clear and powerful sentimental element to Kondo's writing as well.
Number 3. Super Mario Galaxy 2's Yoshi Star Galaxy.
Super Mario Galaxy established a new sound for Mario, being the first Mario game to feature a live orchestra recording the music, and it introduced a magic and scale to the music that just wasn't possible on the early Mario soundtracks. The scores for these games are brilliant, but it's also very fun to hear Kondo throw back to those simpler N64 days with one of his contributions to Super Mario Galaxy 2's soundtrack, the theme for the Yoshi Star Galaxy. This theme, accompanying the level where you're introduced to Yoshi for the first time in a Galaxy game, totally captures the spirit of the Super Mario 64 soundtrack, but recorded with a live band. In classic Kondo fashion, the melody is simple but immediately memorable. The bluesy flat 3 colors an otherwise upbeat major key phrase, and the funky rhythms and syncopation give the whole thing a joyful energy. The conga groove that runs through the track is a great callback to Yoshi's first appearance in gaming as Mario's trusty steed in Super Mario World, where jumping on Yoshi would add a bongo layer to whatever music was playing at that time. Building this same percussion element into the Yoshi Star Galaxy track is such a great musical wink to those in the know. I also love the tune's B section. It feels like the horns here are teaming up to lead a charge. All the different types of brass, saxes, and even a flute playing this charming melody all together has this wholesome, Boy Scout-esque spirit of adventure to it. Everyone together, let's go! Kondo has a gift for writing these kinds of melodies, tracks that feel optimistic without being cloying, unabashedly joyful without feeling two-dimensional. It's a perfect pairing for Mario as a series of games. They're fun for fun's sake, and it's this dedication to enjoyment that paradoxically makes them feel meaningful.
Number 2, Super Mario 3D World's Chain Link Charge.
Super Mario 3D World introduced the big band swing sound to Mario's musical legacy, a very welcome evolution if you ask me, and Koji Kondo contributed 2 pieces to the soundtrack that share the same melody: Chain Link Charge and Sunshine Seaside. Again, it's a joyful, optimistic melody that avoids feeling saccharine or two-dimensional, but this time written in an old-school swing style. The melody gives us wide leaps that stick to strong tonic chord tones, giving a feeling of security and stability while also providing enough motion and drama to keep things interesting. But what I like about it is the phrasing. The melody sets up this pattern where the end of one 4-bar phrase dovetails into the start of the next, and after 12 bars, the melody loops back in on itself. 12 bars is a bit of a weird length for a melody compared to the 8 or 16 bars that you might expect, and having the end of the section flow perfectly back into the beginning gives it this circular quality. At the end of the second time through, the melody resolves itself, but the resolution is then itself repeated over an extended descending bass line figure. This drawn-out tag then flows into the final 4-bar phrase, which references the intro of the piece to bring the melody to an actual, unambiguous point of resolution. Most melodies can feel a little boxy, playing through an A-section phrase, then definitively ending and moving to a different B-section phrase. But the melody in Chain Link Charge just keeps going. It feels totally natural, flowing into each new section to the point that it's hard to pinpoint exactly where one section ends and the next one starts. And while the piece was written for an up-tempo big band swing arrangement, the Sunshine Seaside version shows that the same melody functions perfectly naturally in a more laid-back, beachy setting. This time with a new, sudden key change up a half step, marking the start of the second phrase. Super Mario 3D World came out in 2013, almost 30 years after the original Super Mario Bros., and it just goes to show that Kondo's ability to write a melody didn't diminish at all over those 3 decades. If anything, his newer contributions to soundtracks are some of his best work. Case in point, I think if I had to pick one Kondo One-Off as the best of them all, it would have to be Rosalina's Observatory. The piece is so beautiful that it manages to overshadow the rest of Super Mario Galaxy's soundtrack, which is full of other absolutely gorgeous pieces. That being said, I do already have a whole video breaking down Rosalina's Observatory and its allusions to Golden Age Disney princess music, so I'm not going to put it on this list. It gets the honorary top spot, but the other number one, the last piece that I want to talk about in this video is...
Number 1. The new Super Mario Bros. Theme.
According to an Iwata Asks interview, Kondo wasn't supposed to contribute any writing to the new Super Mario Bros. Soundtrack, but when the sound team presented their main theme to Kondo as the sound director for the game, someone commented that it didn't quite sound like Mario music. So Kondo decided to redo it himself, and this absolute bop was born. They needed something that sounded like Mario music, so they went right to the source, and boy did the source deliver. The breezy Latin feel, the syncopated rhythms, the singable melody, it's all there and it all feels perfect. With the modern Mario trends of first the orchestral music of Galaxy and then the big band jazz of 3D World, it's easy to forget that the original concept for Mario's theme was more inspired by Latin music. So returning to a calypso inspiration for the new Super Mario Bros. Theme was a perfect way to get back to the series' roots. This little chromatic turn in the melody is even pretty much taken straight from the original Mario theme. It's catchy, it's fun, it's endlessly replayable, and the little vocal stabs are so perfect that even the Koopas in the game couldn't help but dance to them. This is definitely an all-timer Mario track. These are my top 5 favorite Kondo One-Offs. It's so nice to have a little of his writing in so many games' soundtracks. Even while bringing up the future generations of Nintendo composers, he still manages to bless us with his artistry in each new installment. Even with all of the great new music coming out of Mario and Zelda's modern iterations, we can't ever forget why Kondo is the king. So which is your favorite Koji Kondo One-Off? Which is your favorite full score of his? Did you know these were all Koji Kondo pieces? Did you know that Kondo's not the one still writing all of the Mario music? I obviously have no idea what the general level of Nintendo music knowledge is out there. Anyways, thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.